The old woman, Ilara, sat by the window, her gaze fixed on the empty spot beside her worn armchair. A single tear traced a path down her wrinkled cheek. For 15 years, that spot had been occupied by Max, her magnificent German shepherd. Now, only the silence echoed in the small cottage. Max hadn't just been a pet. He was her shadow, her confidant, her protector. Through the lonely years after her husband passed, Max's unwavering loyalty had been the one constant. He'd barked at squirrels, nudged her hand for pets, and laid his heavy head on her lap during thunderstorms, his deep, comforting sighs a lullaby. One blustery autumn evening, a fierce storm had descended upon their isolated home. The power flickered, then died, plunging the cottage into darkness. Ilara, frail and recovering from a recent illness, was disoriented. A crashing sound from the kitchen startled her, and she fumbled for her cane. But before she could move, Max was there, his fur bristling, a low growl rumbling in his chest. He pushed her gently but firmly behind him, his powerful body a shield. Then a glint of light, a movement at the window. A figure, silhouetted against the stormy sky, was trying to force their way in. Max launched himself forward, a blur of muscle and courage. There was a snarl, a yelp, and then the sound of hasty retreat. Max stood guard at the broken window, his silhouette regal and defiant, until the first rays of dawn broke through the clouds. Ilara found the would-be intruder's discarded crowbar outside, and deeper in the mud, a clear, deep paw print. Max had saved her, not just from a physical threat, but from the terrifying realization of her vulnerability. Now, weeks after Max had crossed the Rainbow Bridge, Ilara felt that vulnerability acutely. The silence was deafening. The house felt too large, too empty. She missed the gentle thud of his tail on the floor, the soft panting at her feet, the reassuring weight of his head against her hand. One afternoon, a young woman from the local animal shelter knocked on her door. "Mrs. Davies," she began hesitantly, "we have a dog here. A German shepherd. He was found wandering, and he seems lost. He reminds us so much of Max." Ilara's heart ached. She couldn't. Not yet. The pain was too fresh, but the young woman persisted, her voice gentle. "He's very quiet, very gentle. He just sits and watches everyone with these incredibly sad eyes. We thought, maybe a visit?" Reluctantly, Ilara agreed. When she arrived at the shelter, a magnificent German shepherd lay curled in a corner, his head on his paws. As Ilara approached, he slowly lifted his head, his dark eyes meeting hers. There was a spark, a recognition, something ancient and profound. He rose, stretched, and then, with a soft whimper, nudged her hand. It wasn't Max, but in his eyes, Ilara saw the same depth of loyalty, the same quiet strength. As he lay his head on her lap, a familiar, comforting weight, Ilara reached down and gently scratched behind his ears. And then she saw it. On his front paw, a faded but distinct scar, in the exact shape of a crowbar. Tears, different from the ones she'd shed before, welled in her eyes. These were tears of hope, of connection, of a love that transcends time and form. This wasn't a replacement for Max. It was a continuation of his spirit, a new chapter written with an unseen paw print guiding the way.